Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been a switch it up. A switch it up. Said a switch it up. A switch it up. Switch it up. Like that. Switch it up. Said a switch it up. A switch it up. I am Jeff, and here I am. A miggity mic, check it. I'm running a mic. I'm running a mic, check. I'm running a mic. I'm running a mic, check. I'll bring the level up. And a mic check. Running a mic, check. I'm running a mic, check. I'm running a mic, check. See, Ember's just like the guy from Shaw who wanted to jump up on stage and just go, oh, yeah, every time David said stuff. You and Nikki just staking ground in the neutral zone.
All right. Sure, people dance.
You know what? Nikki low-key saves the day. Like, there's a lot of people saves the day in this. Like, Brandon saves the day by inviting everyone to form a circle, and David saves the day by fucking rapping, and Nikki saves the day by asking a black guy to dance, and Donna saves the day by following her, and then Andrea saves the day by doing the funniest line dance I've ever seen, until I saw Kelly do a line dance like 6 seconds later, and then that saved the day. So everyone's a hero. That's all I'm saying in this episode. Everyone's a fucking hero.
For one night, those students got to feel like kids and think, oh, this is so relaxing. These white people problems, this is nice.
I know. So this week, Cheesemeisters, we are talking about Season 3, Episode 10, Home and Away. My fucking favorite episode of all time. I can't even with how great this episode is in the way that I view greatness. So, here's what happens in this episode. Whew. All right. The West Beverly football team is undefeated at 3-0, which may sound ridiculous to anyone out there who wants to celebrate the 3-0 start to a season. But I'm telling you, as an Indiana football fan, 3-0 is crazy. And right now, Indiana football is 6-0, which is double crazy. So I understand everyone in West Bev being like 3-0, and we're going to face another undefeated team. Holy shit! Most important thing that's ever happened in this high school.
Right.
So they're going to play Shaw next week, the Masters of the Universe. Except for Shaw is like a school full of black kids or whatever. And there is, at the end of their 49-0 rout of Wilshire High School, there's a shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Ember sneezes to emphasize.
Oh, follow Dad.
Any coincidence at all that Ember is black and we're kicking her out?
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, are we the security guards?
Oh, God. She's like, I'm the West Bev black kid.
That's right. I was invited by Brandon Walsh. We're going to form a circle. All right, we're doing it. We're good. We'll switch it up. Switch it up. Switch it up. Like that. Switch it up. All right, so at the end of the Shaw game, there are there's a shooting.
Yes.
And we find out about it by Steve being on the payphone collecting scores for local football games, which is a thing that happened in the early 90s, which is awesome.
Ooh, that was a cool dated moment. I would never experience that.
Yep. You got to call it in. You got to find out the scores. But, he finds out something major happens, and Brandon, in prime voiceover, is telling us all about it. This is maybe the greatest voiceover in the history of television, as far as I'm concerned. And he would have jumped on this story right away. I mean, he really would have. Journalistic integrity and whatnot. But, they were on a winning streak, and there were mega burgers and shit. Plus, Tony Miller's here, and so's Kyle. So, and a black guy. West Bev is, in the house rocking the Peach Pit on a Friday night. Even Kelly and Donna are there watching Sue flirt with David. She's definitely coming on to him.
I know. I'm like, just go talk to your man. My God.
No, you got to let Sue cook. You can't get in the way. You can't cock block Sue. There's no stopping this kid. But tell you what, they're stopping a football game, because after this shooting at Shaw, where West Bev is going to play next week, the school board holds an emergency meeting to discuss whether they're going to have a football game. And of course, Brandon goes to the team meeting, which he's invited to now, even though like last year he totally ratted on everybody about their steroid usage, but whatever, he's in now, he's cool.
I like him.
Lady, why not? He's wearing flannel. And so he goes to the school board meeting, and no decision's going to be made till Monday, Brandon. Fuck off, says Mrs. Teasley and the coach. And then Brandon meets Jordan Bonner, who proceeds to spend the entire episode telling Brandon how stupid he is. And thank God for Jordan Bonner doing the Lord's work. And then they immediately canceled the football game, even though they said it wasn't going to happen until Monday. And now Brandon's on a mission to
what?
Fucking something. I don't know. Okay, Brandon starts out very much wanting to play this football game.
For why?
I don't know why. Because both teams are undefeated, I suppose. And then when that's done, Nikki gives him the idea for the neutral zone. So he goes to talk to Jordan at Shaw and pitch the idea of the neutral zone, playing the game in a neutral location, because all that matters is that we play this football game. And Jordan says, Brandon, you're a fool. If we play this anywhere but here, we hand the neighborhood over to the gangs. You don't know what you're talking about. Fuck all the way off. That's dumb. And then Brandon says, I have a better idea that can change the world. What if, through the power of student newspapers, I publish a eulogy for a way of life? Fuck all the way off. And you'll publish a eulogy for your friends, the 2 kids who are dead. And Jordan's like, bet, let's do that. And so Jordan apparently hands Brandon a profanity-laced tirade that goes on for pages. And Brandon's like, gotta put it in the paper.
I know. I'm just like, I need to read that eulogy, because I do too. It's fucked up that my friends got shot. Like, I can't even begin. And also, like, I'm sure there were words in there that I can't say.
Well, I mean, there's that. You know what it reminds? There was a Simpsons episode where Homer was wanted to be a food critic for the local newspaper, and he was short on words. So at the end, he just wrote "screw Flanders" over and over again to get into the word count. And so that's kind of what I feel like Jordan might have done here. He's like, I got to get this to 500 words. Fuck Brandon, fuck Brandon, fuck Brandon. Just over and over again.
I mean, he could have been fuck white people, and it would have been okay. It's like,
totally fine. Yeah. Except for he didn't know. He didn't know at this point that a white kid rapping was going to solve all this shit. And so, but Gil and Andrea are like, Brandon, you're a moron. We can't possibly print this. If nothing else, there's way too many swear words. Gil says, you keep using words like Paschetti and Mamedos, and here at the end, you just wrote "screw Flanders" over and over again.
The only person who is allowed to be upset in this is Jordan.
It's Jordan.
And everyone at Shaw. But everyone at West Bev thought, I'm really bored with my life. I want to be mad. And I'm going to be mad at Brandon for this seemingly innocuous thing.
Yeah. So, sorry, I have to take my flannel off. It is too hot.
Yeah.
In my soul for a flannel in this episode. So there's also going to be a dance. Pig Skin Prom. And Brenda.
What a name.
It's awesome. And Brenda's going to run this thing. She's on the dance committee. They're auditioning bands. Among them, Grudge Master, who's probably everyone's favorite. but why don't you just hire David? Like, for real, just hire David. Please just hire David. Can you please just hire David? Everyone implores. Steve, Donna, Kelly. Kelly, who does not think David's any good,
No.
but is like, just hire David. Like, it's way easier. If that way he has a reason to be there. It's fine.
She doesn't want to do anything with her life, with this prom, nothing.
Yeah. Kelly's got other shit going on. And the other shit Kelly has going on is that her dad called. And he's coming to town on Friday, and she's going to meet him at Spago, even though Dylan's like, she's probably not going to show because he doesn't show, Brent. That's who this asshole is. He always disappoints Kelly. He's probably going to go that way again. Be prepared. And so Donna hires David. Steve, David's manager, gets 2 A&R guys to come to a high school dance, which is maybe the most realistic thing that happens in this episode.
Oh my god.
It's possible.
Yes.
Yeah. And but then they're going to cancel the dance. And so Brandon goes and yells at Mrs. Teasley and gets the dance back on. Oh, did we mention that? Oh, because here's what happens. Brandon writes his eulogy for A Way of Life, and he invites all the Shaw kids to come to the dance. Because what are we going to do, people? We're going to form 2 lines and throw rocks at each other? Or maybe we can come together and form a circle.
My god.
So Brandon has gone from caring deeply about this football game to I'm going to use to the neutral zone idea to I'm going to use the power of the student press to solve gang violence and possibly racism.
Brandon saw West Side Story, and he saw that moment at the dance when the chaperone or whatever says, okay, we're going to form 2 circles. All the girls on the inside, all the boys on the outside, and whenever the music stops, you're going to dance with that person. And he said, I know I can make that happen.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that circle for some real shit. And that shit is called saving the world. So no one's going to show up to the dance, except for then everybody does, or at least 4 people.
They could hire more extras for this scene or film it in a smaller space. This was the saddest dance I have ever seen.
It is. There's like 14 people in this dance, and half of them are Donna.
You are showing either how little money you all actually have or how little you care about making this look real.
There's no chance to make this look real. It's very silly. The whole fucking thing. But the kids from Shaw show up, and some of them have been drinking Dear God. And Brandon goes from, this is the best idea I've ever had, to, oh no, everything's going wrong. And Nikki says, guess who's coming to dinner? Because ouch.
Oh my God. I know. I heard that and went, oh.
Yeah. And then the Shaw kids get there, and the security guards don't want to let them in because the security guards were hired to do a job. And then Brandon and Brenda both yell at them, and they let Jordan in. And then Brandon yells at them again, and Gil's like, listen to the teenager. And then all the Shaw kids come in, and there's almost a fight, but there's not, because it's just Tony Miller and the other kid that goof around in the hallway, goofing around again. But you've been in everybody's face since we got here. And then Nikki asks one of the guys from Shaw to dance, and instead of forming a circle, they form a series of lines and begin to line dance. They make a big square, and then they line dance to David Silver rapping Switch It Up. And all of the world's problems are solved.
No.
Because Brandon, nobody could have seen this coming. Jordan, my man, anyone could have seen this. I fucking love how dumb this episode is. I don't think you loved it as much as I did, but you also haven't watched it 100 times. So tell me how this lands for you.
It made me so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable the whole time. This was like Scott's Tots of this series for me so far.
Yeah.
If any Office fans are listening, this was so cringy and so uncomfortable for me, because what it did it showed how everyone at West Beverly is a level of racist.
Sure.
You know, like whether or not they think it, they were definitely buying into some stereotypes, buying into the fear that has been cultivated by white supremacy because they were all like, "You're inviting them here?"
Yeah.
You know, they're very much the white people who were like, who were probably donating to black businesses right after
Sure.
George Floyd, but we're like, no, stay there.
Yeah.
Like, it made...
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Teasley.
Okay. And I did not think it was fair that they made Mrs. Teasley look like a self-hating black person when really she's just trying to do her... She's doing 3 jobs. She did not want to be at that meeting. Okay. Do I know what vice principals do? No.
Nobody knows what Mrs. Teasley does. She does everything.
I'm basing this off of like vice presidents. They do nothing. They are there in case the president dies. She's there in case the principal gets caught on a scandal, which maybe that'll happen. But like,
you never know.
She's doing too many jobs. And at the end of the day, she has to deal with all these, not just these fucking privileged white kids, but also their worst parents. So of course she's gonna have to be like, I can't let these Shaw kids here.
Right.
Which,
yeah, this is and worse is a PR nightmare. But go ahead.
When they said Shaw, I was like, well, that's supposed to be Crenshaw.
Yeah, sure. For sure.
Like, oh man. Okay. So yeah, this episode, in all its ridiculousness that I could appreciate, I was still like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Did you like, and by like I mean hate, how Brandon drove again into South Central, not to yell at Devon this time, but to yell at Jordan, or whatever he was going to do, and mentions Henry? Were you like, and then I remembered that I know a black guy.
The audacity. I forget what his exact line is, but just like, oh, and then I remembered Henry and where his sporting goods store might be, and it never occurred to me to ask. And I'm like, but one, you're a teenager. I'm sorry. Everyone is in over their head in this episode.
Right.
Everyone is also, shout out to Avenue Q, everyone's a little bit racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all the white people are definitely like,
yeah.
It's I have so many thoughts, and I don't know if you want to jump into what this is about, but like,
yeah, let's go to what this is really about. I have things that bolster my love of this fucking ridiculous episode, but let's start with the things you think this is really about. I bet there's some overlap. I just think they're funnier than you do.
I have 2 for sure. I'll give the first one, but the other one I just came up with, and I think it's brilliant. Okay. First of all, Brandon is the only one who is ever allowed to be upset at injustice and fix things.
Oh, fixes everything. Mm-hmm.
But then, more importantly and more disturbingly, people only care about the game. That's what this episode is about. At the end of the day, people only care about the game.
I don't know. Some people care about the dance. Like, way more than the game.
Oh, the women. Like, this...
Well, David and Steve.
But ultimately, I feel like overall, it just shows how... Because we see this... I mean, this is not a great example, but at least it doesn't include racism in it. Like, in Hoosiers, they hate the coach. But the fact that Jimmy's going to come back and play, they're like, okay, fine, we'll coach stays.
Get fired for anything but losing.
Yes. Not saying I wanted him fired, but like he did possibly hit a kid at another school. So anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But again, anytime shit like this happens, people care more about the game than what these players are going through or what they have to deal with. You know, it's like we watched in 42. You know, if he hadn't been as good, they would not have let Jackie Robinson continue.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, no, it's people in this episode feel like if they can put on the event whatever the event is. First, it's the football game, then it's the neutral zone football game, then it's the dance. Then they have done something,
Mm-hmm.
right? With big
Memorable.
old fingers. Oh, something that's going to change the world, as Brandon suggests, by printing 2 op-eds in 2 different newspapers. It's going to change the world. And
They
and
might
this
as well
is
have had cell phones. That's how they were behaving.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and connected to one of the things that you just said that this episode was really about is I think this episode is the apex
Oh.
of what we have seen so far in 90210. It was all building to this. This is the best example of well, we tried. Right? Like, this is the top of the mountain of well, we tried. Like, we needed to talk about school shootings. We needed to talk about gang violence. We're in Los Angeles. There's, like, you saw Boys in the Hood. We know what's going on here. We have to talk about this. We just lived through the riots. We have to talk about this. How can we talk about this? Well, we got to bring the violence to the doorstep of all of our rich white kids and then watch them react to it in the clumsiest fucking way they possibly can. So this is the tippy top of well, we tried. It's also the absolute zenith of Brandon yells at people.
Oh yeah.
Every single time Brandon talks, he is in somebody's face with self-righteous ignorance. And he's wrong. And I love Jordan's role in this is to say, Brandon, you are a moron.
Violence isn't always the answer, but it is if it means hitting Brandon across the face.
Slap him right upside the head.
Shut him up, please, someone.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Teasley. Fuck off, Brandon.
I need everyone to leave Mrs. Teasley alone. She's doing too many jobs for not enough pay. I'm stressed for her.
And she has to deal with these fool children, and it's only going to get worse. Oh, it's only going to get more. This is, look, as a former school administrator, there's just some years are worse than others. And I got to think that 25 years down the line, when Mrs. Teasley retires, she has to look back at the class of 1993 and go, that year sucked. There was so much shit that year. Fuck these kids.
It's the year she started smoking.
Right. And it's October. We're not even into sweeps. And Mrs. Teasley is like, oh, I hate all of you. Brandon yells at Andrea. He yells at Gil. He yells at Mrs. Teasley. He yells at his parents. I'll go answer the phone if you think it's safe.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. He yells at Brenda. She probably thinks I did this just to ruin her life. So fucking melodramatic. He's just, and he yells at the security guards, repeatedly.
Who are, granted, they're totally racially profiling. However, they're also there to do a job. And also, when he invited that other school, I was like, okay, for the admin, I understand why you all are pissed. You can't just be inviting kids from another school. That would be a problem anyway.
Right. Yeah. You can't have, although I will tell you this, when I was the principal of a grade school, the 8th graders wanted to invite another school to the dance. And I said, go ahead. I said, invite those other kids. Have a good fucking time. My assistant principal did not agree with me, but she didn't agree with me about anything. She sucked.
You said you haven't seen Home and Away.
No, I was like, you don't know what I know. When you bring these kids together, they're going to fucking line dance. This is going to be not a problem. No issues are going to occur here. They might even decide to have a football game on Saturday if we do this. And for the record, everything went fine. There were no issues at this 8th grade school. But do you know the number of conversations I had to have about it? I mean, it was a fuck ton. It was a lot of people really emotionally invested in whether some other 8th graders came to this dance. Fuck off. It was fine. They had a dance. But those security guards who, as you say, were hired to do a job, and their job was racism.
Yes.
Which is especially like when Dylan and Kelly show up, and the security guards are like, "Oh, they go here." How do you know that? You don't know they go here. They didn't have any. There's no student IDs at West Bev. No one's walking around with a lanyard and shit. These are white kids. Oh, that's cool. Let the white kids.
We saw at Shaw when Brandon invaded that school. There were white kids there too.
There were? I didn't even notice.
There were.
Because I don't see color. I'm
canceled. Yeah, it is really hard to see white people. We're just invisible. Except
fade. Casper, the friendly high school student. Brandon is not invisible. Brandon makes his presence known constantly by yelling at everybody. And then, as you said, this is, and I'm adding the apex to this, but this is the apex of Brandon Solves It. Because he just, I don't know what he fixed, but he fucking did it. Like, he did it. Like, whatever this was, he did it. Like, he didn't get the game played, fail.
No,
he didn't get the neutral site.
The game will be played tomorrow in the park.
See, solved that too. He solved it. He got the newspaper out on time. Like, clearly, even though they'd blown the deadline, it landed on everyone's desk the next morning, as it's supposed to. Because you saw everybody in the school was really mad at him the next day.
They basically showed the same shot of Steve and someone else being like,
Brandon! But it's fine, because when they showed up, they didn't form 2 lines and start throwing rocks at each other. They formed 7 or 8 lines, and they line danced to switch it up. And racism is solved. We did it. Brandon did it. He solved gang violence. He solved racism. He solved football. Brandon did it. And he did it with 1 chaperone.
Brandon is why we got Obama.
Yes. Thanks, Brandon. You did it. Brandon fucking solved it.
Oh my god, get out of here. He did it though.
Are you kidding me? Of course he did. Didn't you see the end?
Again. We're never going to see these kids again.
You know what? We might see Jordan again. We might see Jordan again. Those other kids who showed up to dance with the white women, you know what that was? Have you ever seen Animal House? You probably haven't.
No.
That was the mind if we dance with your dates scene from Animal House, where yeah, except for instead of shit, what's their name? And the Knights, Hit It. They got David Silver and the band he just put together. All right. This episode, I think, is also about a total lack of institutional control.
Yeah.
Because, like, the school board canceled the game. Like, they were able to do that. They almost canceled the dance, but they were not able to pull that one off. They weren't able to... no one in the administration or the faculty was able to control what went into the school newspaper. The security wasn't able to keep people who weren't supposed to be at the dance out of the dance. They just gave up and let the lunatic children run by Brandon Walsh run the entire establishment. Mrs. Teasley, being literally the only person who works there, not named Gil Myers, is clearly overrun. But this school is a madhouse, and out of anyone's ability to control it.
Also, I totally feel like Gil was out there drinking from a flask when they said he was getting coffee.
Look, I know your motives are solid.
He did this a lot.
He does. So you notice the hand acting in this one?
I had to purposefully watch it, but yes, I see what you're talking about. Here's the thing. I hate him so much. I don't want to. When he's in the scene, I have to watch other people and be like, yes, he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But your tummy already hurts and won't relax. So let's not look at the incendiary white man who's just going to make it worse.
The problem is, where do you look? Because if you look away from Gil, you're going to see Brandon, who's the incendiary white man who's only going to make it worse.
Well, and it's thanks to bourbon, I was able to look at this last night and be like, yes, what an annoying man. What a bad actor. I know.
He's a little bit like Dana Carvey's George H.W. Bush impression.
Oh, yeah.
Basically that. Yeah. And I think that this episode, to quote the Hudsucker Proxy, which I don't know if that's a movie you've seen or not, only a numbskull thinks he knows things about things he knows nothing about. And that is Brandon. That is Brenda telling Kelly that maybe her dad's not going to show up. And Kelly's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You live in Walshland. Fuck off.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. And it's about Steve as a manager. Like, on the phone, on the stage, while 1,000 guitars are playing. Who is he talking to? The only way he gets David any jobs is either by bribing people or the two sweetest words in the English language, default. And he's like, I don't know who he's got running the mixer, but it's the guy with the slick back hair, until the kid from Shaw comes up and immediately makes things better, although you can't hear that. Like, I don't know why that's better, but it was.
All he did was turn up the volume. And, like, they could have had him do so much more, because it's like, well, you're already, again, profiling this kid and being like,
yeah,
well, they're better at music. Well, if you know that, then why don't you have David be the real champion of this and hand the mic over and say...
Well, he did give him a mic. He brought him up on stage and let the guy say, oh, yeah, and collected, oh, yeah, instead of switch it up. I switch it up. Yo, I switch it up. I switch it up. Yeah, I switch it up.
I'm not
switch it up.
With it.
I am beyond okay with it because they solved gang violence. Weren't you paying attention? They fixed it. Brandon fucking fixed it. They fixed it. Look, if Brandon hadn't done all the crazy shit he did, David would have sung that song to one black person. Instead, 5.
Oh my
God. Brandon, 500% increase in the impact that David's racially corrective music was able to reach. A 500% increase, thanks to the power of the student press.
Oh my God.
And that is why this is the greatest episode of any television show ever. Edict!
Those Shaw kids got to feel really good about being right that these white kids can't dance.
Well, look, I think Nikki can dance.
Nikki and Brenda. Donna was doing all right.
Donna can kind of dance. Although R.I.P. Tori Spelling on Dancing with the Stars apparently couldn't make that. If they'd only played Switch It Up.
I was so pissed for her for many reasons. But then when I saw this, I was even more pissed. I'm like, okay, girl can move. But, like,
yeah.
Also, she sounds like she's put a lot of things in her body that are making her feel like she can't move like she used to. past traumas, insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
all these things. And yeah, as someone who is being forced to dance when they're not comfortable dancing anymore,
Mm-hmm.
hard to move.
Well, can I recommend that in your head, when you're performing today, you listen to Switch It Up and see if that helps?
I would love it if I could have something else in my ear. I mean, I like the music we're dancing to, but it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
My whole role is
But
unnecessary.
it's not unnecessary? This episode, because it solves everything.
Oh my god.
It fucking fixed it all.
Maybe that's true in the alternate universe before the weasel hit the satellite.
But Pauly Shore hit a satellite?
We've been through this.
I know. But Pauly Shore shows up on 90210 later, so respects to the wheeze. Buddy. I just love it so much. I love the dumb of this episode. Like I keep thinking that, like, because as we've done this grand experiment called the Peach Pod, we're 2 1/3 seasons in, and I've had a lot of different reactions to things along the way than my previous reactions to them. Not this fucker. This made me so happy all the way through because it's just so. It is. I love, the more ridiculous, the more I love it, is where I am with this show. And it's where I've been for years. And that's why this episode, it depending on where you land on magical realism, this is the weirdest episode of season 3.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Yeah. Or there's an episode coming up at Christmas that you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening here? Because you're right. That's also correct. And that's also one of my favorite episodes. Again, the more ridiculous, the better.
Oh my god. Is Dylan going to be visited by girlfriends past, present, and future?
Oh, that would be awesome. No, it's not that holiday. It's not that holiday movie that gets hijacked.
Oh no.
I guess bastardized, ass raped. I don't know. I don't know what you want to say about what happens to this beloved holiday movie coming up in a few episodes. But it's some silly bullshit is what it is. And so if you want to make an argument after we watch that episode that is the most ridiculous thing you've seen this season, I won't fight you on it.
Okay. Because
that's a fair stance to take. But that episode does not solve gang violence by David Silver limping. It just doesn't. Nothing else does. Actually, that's not true. There's an episode later where David raps that might also solve things. Squash it. And I'm just going to say this now because you're going to forget, and it's 3 or 4 seasons down the road. But David Silver actually says the words, "Look, I may be white, but I ain't vanilla." Yes, in regards to him being a rapper. I just don't want you to think that because this is the apex of the show that it doesn't continue to deliver on just a wide range of wonderful bullshit. And I may be white, but I ain't vanilla is a thing in our future.
Oh my god. I don't know what to feel anymore.
Joy, because they fixed it. They fucking did it. Yeah. Look, are there metal detectors in every school now? No.
Oh.
Are people getting shot? No. Is gang violence still a problem? No. Brandon fucking fixed it.
Instead, it's white people shooting up schools.
Well, that's not the circle he meant to form, but it's a circle nonetheless.
Oh, Brandon, where are you now?
Oh my god. Solving problems someplace. Probably Canada. All right. Anything else that this might have really been about? Did we talk enough about Sue? Well, you know what we didn't talk about, and I'll let you answer that question. I apologize, but we haven't really talked about Kelly and her dad, and we really haven't talked about Sue and David all that much. So, but anyway, what else do you have that this episode might really have been about?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good
Okay.
on what this is about. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about Kelly except for the fact that I'm mad that she left that Mega Burger and shake.
Max.
Like, honestly, could have made her the worst person in this episode if it wasn't for some people who are clearly worse.
Clearly. Yeah.
Also, quite a dress to be meeting one's dad in, but I guess when in Beverly Hills,
Well, you're going to Spago. I guess you got to dress up. I don't know. I've never been to Spago. Is Spago still a thing? Do people still eat at Spago? Dylan has a good question. Maybe the most valid question of the episode.
Trying so hard, but I don't even mean like as a person, like as okay. Okay. Whoever directed this episode. I have problems. I have problems with your direction. One,
Okay.
you had Sue go on way too long, and like herself. Give her something else to say if you're going to focus on her this long. And then also, I blame you for why those black actors felt the need to be angry plus.
Sure.
I did not like it at all. I felt really bad for these actors because I was like, I know they're acting their hearts out, maybe because they feel like, I don't know when the next job is. I got to make this one count. I finally have something for my reel. I'm projecting. I don't know. But
right.
It was so much.
Yeah.
Like, they're really making these black actors like be overhyped, be overly angry, which again is perpetuating a negative stereotype about that group.
Right.
Yeah.
But all of it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. Like there's the only thing in this episode that isn't hilarious is Kelly being sad that her dad stood her up again. Like, she is, I texted you this. I think Jenny is great in this episode.
She is.
Like, and she's in her own episode because like nothing else is impacting what is going on with her and Bill Taylor.
She's the worst dancer.
She's such a bad dancer. It's so fucking funny.
Good time. She's not doing the thing of like, oh, I'm so bad, or I'm gonna hide over here. Like, she's laughing at herself, which is all you can do.
She is. It's great. But like Nikki cheering, not Nikki, Sue cheering by herself to the mic check.
Talk about another thing that made me super uncomfortable. Sue Scanlon, oh my God, what happened to you? Because I'm just going to be honest. Sexually confident teenagers make me really uncomfortable. When I was one, now.
Sure.
Don't know what it says about me, but we'll leave it at that. And she was making me all kinds of uncomfortable with like how she was touching David, how she was talking to him. I was like, how many people have you been with now, and how many were consensual? Like, what lies have you told yourself to get to this spot?
I'm gonna tell you that you only have to wait one more episode to find out the horrible answer to that question.
Okay, because like this all feels like a trauma response.
Yes.
Yep. Wow.
Yep. This is one you call. This is one you nailed. Yeah. In very little screen time, you have correctly predicted that there is some bullshit going on in Sue's life. And it is, yeah. So,
and again, that's also a negative stereotype that I hate, but it does, that does happen. Like,
sure. And all of that we'll deal with next week. And you're right. but also, woo, is fucking hilarious. Like 6 or 7 woos by yourself to the sound check is so funny. And that's why this show is great. Because all of this stuff could, if done right, could be very serious.
Yes.
But it's done like this. And so it's fucking funny. Like you can't watch this episode and seriously struggle with the issues of gang violence or school safety or race relations or circles.
They clearly
Like you can't.
They didn't want this to be a very special episode, clearly.
No, because they're not even sweeps.
Okay.
Like, can you imagine what they've got in their back pocket when they're like, you know what we're going to do in October? We're going to fucking solve racism. That's not even sweeps, kids. Wait till sweeps see what we got coming. Uh-huh. Season 3 doesn't let up. Season 3 has some stuff going on.
I need to get my health right.
Man, I think this might be... I think this is the cure for what ails you, is watching this bullshit.
No, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah. I mean, look, if Brandon and David can solve gang violence and racism just by white rappers, then what can't you do? Is what I'm saying. Right? Sky's the limit. You can fucking do that. All you gotta do is yell at some adults.
Maybe that is my problem. I don't yell at enough people.
How many times have you done this in the last week? Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you like if you do that a lot? Okay, yeah, I got to do that more. I think got to do that. Huh? What if you get run over? All right. What did this make you nostalgic for?
I struggled with this one.
Okay.
Because to say school dances kind of feels too vague.
Sure.
And obviously there are things I do and don't miss about school dances. I think I miss that stress over whether or not I'm going to get to dance with someone and have that mean everything to me when I'm like, I miss those problems.
Yeah.
But also the picking out the outfit.
Oh, sure. That's fun scene.
Yeah. Getting to look for a new dress is so much fun. I think my favorite moment like that was we had found a dress super on sale and we added some stuff to make it look even better. But there was this other dress that was just awesome. Mm-hmm. And the day of, Mom bought it. And I wore that instead. And I had a date. And this is also the same event, the same dance, where me and another girl were wearing the same outfit, but I thought it was amazing. She was the one who was upset and like, are you going to be mad? I went, I think this is hysterical. Like, go away, date. I'm walking in with her.
That's right. No, I like that. That's great.
So yeah, reminiscent for picking out the outfit. To wear to a dance. Awesome.
I think I could go with I'm nostalgic for literally every other time I've watched this episode because it makes me so fucking happy. But I think what it is, and it could also be my hatred of line dancing, which still exists.
Wow.
But mostly I think what it is I remember going to a school dance, I'm going to say freshman year, maybe sophomore year. I am constantly trapped in the shit I think is funny. Whether other people don't think it's funny, I don't care. It amuses the fuck out of me, whatever it is. And I always found the video for Tom Petty's Free Fallin' to be hilarious. Because it's just Tom Petty riding escalators in an empty mall playing a guitar. And so that song was played at a dance. And so all I did was walk up and down the bleachers pretending to play a guitar. Because it amused me, because it made me laugh so hard. And no one else understood why I was doing that or why I thought it was funny. And that's a slow song. And there's people out there belly rubbing. And like that's what I would have like most liked to have been doing is
Ah,
like dancing with a girl, but I couldn't because Tom Petty playing a guitar on an escalator in an empty mall was way funnier to me and no one else. And so that's how I spent free falling during a high school dance. And that's what this makes me nostalgic for is me just being in my own fucking little world in the middle of other circumstances.
wow.
Specifically.
That's adorable.
Oh, I'm pretty adorable.
Every kid needs to go into a dance with that same energy. Like, I'm just here to have fun. I don't care if I dance with anyone. I'm going to have a good time dancing on my own.
Yeah, it's when you add the extra stress to it that is like, this feels weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, like, thankfully, I was never one of the girls crying in the bathroom. But at the same time, was I totally like, I hope someone asks me to dance? Yes.
Right.
I'm
Sure.
not a human. Come on.
Right. And I spent most of the time being really nervous about asking people to dance.
No.
This is why the dance dynamic is fucking bullshit.
Well, yeah.
Because the girls are all like, I hope someone asks me to dance. And the boys are like, if I ask anyone to dance, it's going to be the most humiliating thing I've ever done in my whole life.
Like, let's just empower kids of all genders to ask.
Let's just dance.
Like, or just dance. Like, let's form a square. And all dance together.
Circles are for solving racial issues. Squares are for solving gender issues.
Yes.
Right? That's how this goes, I think?
Sure.
I fucking know. Yeah, all I know is that I'm a sucker for girls in party shoes.
Oh, see, now...
And I'm getting you fired up again. Which is a great time to ask, who is your Steve Sanders Memorial Worst Person of the Episode?
I'm so torn, because it was Gil for me, for that fucking line, and other stupidities. Being a piss-poor adult chaperone and teacher being like, oh, you guys good? Because I'd like to go and have a life. You have a job, sir. I'm sorry that teachers have to do more than is asked of them, but maybe get on Mrs. Teasley's level or fight for something better. But to say, I gotta go have a life. To kids? Fuck you.
Yep.
But Brandon also sucks.
Brandon does suck. Gil was great at the, can you guys just lay out the paper? I'm going to go. And this dance is clearly running itself. I'm going to go get some coffee.
/
Abdication of duty, Gil.
Like, yes, if you want to play the, like, setting boundaries, letting the kids have some independence, fine. This is not Gil.
Right.
Gil is bad.
Definitely not.
Gil just wants to be the cool teacher. Call me Gil.
Gil is kind of addicted.
Jeans that are too tight. Call me Gil. I haven't buttoned some of my shirt because, the ladies.
Look, I know your motivations are solid.
I'm a sucker for ghouls.
It is Halloween.
I'm a sucker for girls in, what is it, shoes?
Party shoes.
Party shoes.
Party shoes.
What are you? What are you from?
I don't know. He's from the era of party shoes. No, it's okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I'm torn between him and Brandon because Brandon is just such an idiot and so annoying.
For me, it's Brandon. Brandon sucks. But Brandon's sucking is why I love this episode so much. Because he's just the fucking worst.
You have to try in order to learn. If you never do anything, if you never try to do anything to fix the injustices around you, then nothing gets better. It's the thing I have to keep telling myself. You're going to make mistakes and trying to make theater safer. But, man, this is not a safe area. This is not a safe era to make mistakes in. Because people want to put everyone on blast for being human.
Yeah. And, I don't know. I would say good on you, Brandon, for trying.
Yeah.
Except for I don't know what you're trying to do.
He doesn't know either.
He doesn't either. No, but, it's just... It is a confused jumble of efforts to fix things that are, A, nebulous... right? Like, he doesn't even know what he's trying to fix. B, much bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
C, much bigger than the admittedly gigantic power of a high school newspaper. Even when you do co-editorials shared in two different newspapers across the city, which might be like there's this fantastic GI Joe movie from the 80s where they Cobra is going around trying to gather these big old glowing cubes of power,
Mm-hmm.
and when they get them and place them in the different parts of the world, it'll form like a magic pyramid over the earth, and then they'll be in control of this shit from a space station. I don't know, but they're gathering these pieces around the world, and they're trying to control it. And that Brandon is just, he's searching for the pieces, and he's going to put them all together, and he's going to make the pyramid that can solve the world's problems by David Silver. What are you doing? But he does it. And he does it awesome, even though he sucks. Eat it. I'm telling you, even the rants about this episode don't make sense, because this episode don't make no sense. This episode is Chewbacca.
Oh my god.
It's wonderful.
It's a Brick in Anchorman going, "Why are we not?"
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Brandon loves Lamp. He's just saying things that he sees around the room.
Oh.
That's what dance, neutral, circle, David Silver fixed it. I don't fucking know. No, I told you this was the best episode, and you weren't feeling it. You weren't there, but I feel like now you're closer to this thing was a work of art.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is what we're doing for the people.
It's ridiculous, and I'm uncomfortable, and maybe someday I will be less uncomfortable.
You're supposed, like, if you ever get comfortable with how dumb this is, because I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm fucking amused by it. Like, there's some silly shit in this episode. So on Friday, you're gonna have to join us again here, Cheesemeisters, because we're gonna watch something that has something to do with a school dance. And I think we've narrowed it down to two choices.
Yes.
Is that safe to say? We've narrowed it. I think so. Here's the problem with this for me, making this choice for the Peach Pod After Dark this week, is like, what do you pair with the greatest episode of this show? Like, I'm almost putting too much pressure on the choice.
Yeah.
Because nothing can live up to how ridiculous this shit is. It just can't. So I gotta take the emotional baggage away from the choice. And so there's just a lot of movies where there's school dances, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's both of the West Side Stories.
Mm-hmm.
There is the 16 Candles, which is like, it's just a movie I'm not ready to talk about because it's such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
And also because I love it.
Yeah.
Even though it's a fucking mess.
Me too.
So like, I think there's a lot of digging in on that one, and I'm not sure I'm ready to do that right now. So like, I don't want to do 16 Candles with this, even though there's a great school dance in that movie.
Yes.
There's numbers of teen movies with school dances in them, and I'm like, well, no. And so where we came down on as our two choices are Pretty in Pink, mm-hmm. or Grease. And we started our Peach Pod After Dark adventures with Grease 2. And that movie's terrible.
Yes.
Let's do it for our country.
Grease is bad for other reasons, and only because in a 2024 lens. Like, the movie itself, fine. Loved it growing up.
Me too. I love the music. I mean, all of it.
I love the 40-year-olds playing teenagers because I was hoping I would look that withered as a teen, but
sure. I like dancing like this.
yeah.
You can only see my fingers, but that's the only part that matters. That's right. All right. We might have just decided on Grease by dancing just now.
Oh, but I do want to do Pretty in Pink at some point because my life.
All right. So what do you feel like? What do you feel like doing this week? You can decide whichever way you want to go. I'm totally good with.
I feel like because the show is so ridiculous, the episode itself, and it takes rivalries too seriously. Grease also has that because you have, I mean, it's all white kids, but you have like the greasers and the socias basically.
Right.
Or the greasers versus the more hardcore greasers rather.
Right.
Yeah. The greasers versus the posers maybe, but I'll let you decide which is which. So I think Grease is probably the better choice for this particular episode.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to Rydell.
Backwards.
Yeah, I think we did it in the right order. First, you watch Cool Rider, and then you watch Danny Zuko. Hey, you know how it is, rocking and rolling. Whatnot is maybe my favorite. It wasn't matter with me, babe. It wasn't matter with you. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I swear the whatnot might be my favorite word in that entire movie. And whatnot.
Whatnot?
Greasers are just like, whatnot.
There are so many great phrases in that movie that are like another language to us now.
There are. All right. I think we did it.
We did.
All right. So join us here on Friday, Cheesemeisters. We're going to watch Grease. And then next week, when we watch season 3, episode 11, Leslie Gets Uncomfortable. I mean, A Presumption of Innocence.
Oh.
Yeah, trigger warning. I'm sorry. A vague trigger warning involving Sue Scanlon.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So now you know what we're in for this week.
I will hold my dog and she will squirm. Yeah,
there you go. So until next week, Cheesemeisters, or Friday, whichever.
Bye.
Bye.